All right, so we're getting a little closer. We got the motor. You saw the motor at Fast Times the other day. We dynoed it, and now we had it shipped down. We're about 360 miles from Fast Times, so we had to have the motor shipped down because we found the greatest deal on shipping. I'm pretty convinced. I don't know if these guys ship everywhere, but they ship this engine from point A to B, door to door, like I said, about 360 miles, next day for $109, called Superior Express. You might be watching this in Indonesia. I don't know if they're going to ship that far, but for us, it was great, so there you go. And that was street price. We call them up, and here you go. So now we're going to get the motor ready for paint, and there is a little bit of a backstory on the power numbers. You saw how Nick and Graham were, diligently putting this thing together and dynoing it, and it made 550 at 5,900, and it made 571 foot-pounds at 4,200. Well, Nick Scavo, the Scavin Gats as we call him, was convinced that this motor would make 600 horsepower. And he almost to the point of not accepting the answer that, 550 was it. But I told him, I had to go. We were out of time. We only have 10 days to put this car together. So, I didn't want to sit there and continue to, beat this thing. We only showed you a couple dyno pulls. We actually made 6 altogether. It was a long day. But Nick, still convinced. No, it'll make 600 horsepower. I can't help but believe this thing will make 600 horsepower. I know this thing will make 600 horsepower. So here you go. We ran it with a Holley 850 vacuum secondary carburetor and with a 1/2-inch spacer plate that was actually a nitrous plate. Nick believes that if we put a taller spacer on it and switch to a double pumper carburetor and maybe mess with timing a little bit, it would make 600 horsepower. And there's no reason not to believe him, but we wanted to make sure that this thing was going to be set up exactly how it was going to be in the car so that we had a realistic dyno number. So there you go. You could probably replicate this recipe, have it make 600, and you'll be in business. Now, of course, I also say we want it to be exactly how it is in the car. Well, we're not sure if it's going to exactly fit in the car at this point. Because this YM Team G intake manifold, it's nice, but it's tall. Which, normally you just whip out a cowl induction hood and you could stack all kinds of stuff on this and it would fit. But John, over there, spent a lot of time and effort making this flat stock hood flat and smooth and shiny. So I don't really want to just throw that effort away. But at the same time, Graham made this intake manifold port match real nice. So there's a lot of work in both. So we're kind of stuck. So we haven't set it in the car yet. I think it's going to be close. It's going to be real close. And we might have to throw a cowl hood on this thing, maybe after SEMA. It wasn't the plan for the car. Maybe we change the intake manifold. This is what you go through. So right now, like I said, we're getting ready for paint, pulling some stuff off. This, by the way, is a neat little trick. This wrench is it's an SK tool, and it's a spline drive. Can you see in there? Did you see the splines? That's a spline drive. You just blacked it out. There you go. This little spline drive works on 6-point, 12-point, half-strip threads, square, metric, whatever you want. 10 different things with one set of tools. So
6 different things.
At least. I'm sure it fits on something else. So I would think that if you're going to take a road trip and your car breaks all the time, like our Galaxy does, this one socket set would cure having to bring a whole bunch. So we got 10 days left. Kel, anything else that I'm missing?
John, do you have any advice about bugs in the paint shop?
Don't paint at night.
Don't paint at night? Is that what you're saying?
Paint in the rain, don't paint at night.
Painting in the rain's okay with the humidity?
Yep, because of the new chemicals, but there's no bugs out when it rains. If it ain't a mosquito, it's a kamikaze moth that flip upside down with their wings in the paint.
Oh man, that doesn't sound good.
New contest again.
New contest?
Yes, this Friday is the deadline again for another case of Royal Purple. Oh. This is the 3rd one we're going to give away in 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Just for registering in the forum.
Yeah.
But I don't know how many times we'll be able to continue that. Because we talked to Royal Purple today and they're like, normally we sell this stuff.
Yeah.
So,
well, yeah.
So register for that. And then Thursday, November 1st in Las Vegas, you're welcome to join us for a little gathering at the top of the Rio Hotel at Club Voodoo. Are you doing the voodoo thing
I'm doing the
again?
voodoo thing.
Yeah, right. There's a voodoo cam in here. The whole thing, it's voodoo if we'll ever get it back together. So that's that. See you tomorrow.
That's right.